We're on page Resh Mem Vov, right column at the bottom. Masha Merkaba B'Chodim, we're talking about the Chodim of Zair Anpin, Ola Oshan Ba'apo, that he has smoke comes into his nose. Hine B'Hai Tanana, and this smoke, B'Zecha Oshan, a Yotzach of Chodim Zair Anpin, Kol Gavoni Achidun Bey. So in the smoke itself, Kol Gavoni Oshan Achuzim Bo. So all of the colors of the smoke. So now he's introducing there are colors to the smoke. Achuzim Bo. They're all hold on to their nose. V'hem Oshan Shachar v'Oshan Edom. And they're what two colors? They're two colors. One is red, one's black. B'Kol Gavon V'Gavda Achidun Kama Ma'areich and the Dindakasha. V'Kol Gavon, each one of those two colors. So here you have malachim that are going to carry out dinim here in this nose. Shehem hamalachim hamamonin hifarim in the b'shayim that are appointed in order to punish evil people. Charun af Hashem, and that happens when at the time when the comes out of the real anger, but here it means the heat, the fire of his nose. And they all gather onto the smoke that comes from it. I guess I'm thinking about what Charon Af, it sounds like it's like a furnace. So then these balidinim hold on to that smoke that's coming out of the nose, which is the root of all of the colors. Now that seems to me like it takes what colors he means. So these very difficult dinim, they're not perfumed or sweetened from that terrible din. But only from the smoke. Ella al yedeh anshan hakarbanos ha'oda b'mizbeach shalmata that come from the mizbeach. It's the only way. It's ashan to ashan. Shall mitoch b'balach adinim ashan ba'ashan hakarbanos are using the ashan, the karbanos to sweeten up those dinim. Kesiv it's written for Yarech Hashem as reich anikoach, that Hashem smelled this thing called the sweet fragrance. So let's see what reich nikoach means. He said b'mahu milas anichoach. What does nichoach mean? Umeshiv is bas musa de ma'aridina. So he says this has to do with sweetening the smell. The takas obisum, that is sweetening and perfuming the dinim shel chamalachim and bali adinim. It's interesting that he uses the word that you use the idea of bisum, which means to perfume it, which is mashma that it doesn't smell. It smells like bad. I'm not sure what that means. V'chamalachim bali adinim. Omilas nekoach hu lashon nachas ruach. So nekoach is really much of the pleasant spirit. So let's talk about this. Now, this is where you're getting to the concept of fragrance, I'm thinking, because the word it's coming out of the nose, it has to do with breath. So that breath that's coming out of the nose is Zair Anpin. Which is really angry and fiery smoke. As it goes out quickly and in a state of anger. So now but it gets sweetened and it goes out with a certain level of comfort. Because it's already calmed down from this bitter anger. So now he wants to say what? He said, now he's talking about the karbanos, and he wants to say that they have within them the ability to bring nachas ruach. Hashem as reich karbano. So it doesn't say this. Hashem smelled the smell or the fragrance of the karbano v'lo chesiv. It doesn't say that. So it's not that a Kodesh Baruch Hu needs this or he gets anything from it. Elakasav Yarech Hashem, but it's written instead that Hashem smells as Reach Anikoach. What the he can smell we're talking here about this sweetened Ashan. The Horosh of Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Hene Menuchas Umita Gadinim. So from the resting and the sweetening of the dinim, so Kodesh Baruch Hu, who that's where he gets the hanoah from. So let me read this again. The Horosh Kodesh Baruch Hu Nehena Memenachas of Mito Gadinim, from the fact that the dinim are sweetened up, and Naasim Ayedech Abeliyas Reach HaKarbanos, as a result of the coming upwards of the Reich HaKarbanos, the Chaitim Zair Anpin, into the nose of Zair Anpin, which is where the real bad fire is. The Kulchu Gevuran, the Achida HaBiltama. Ki Oz Kal HaGevuros V'Achuzach HaBechaitim Shel Zair Anpin. So now all the Gevuros, which are tied to the nose of Zair Anpin, v'kol the Is'achad HaBechu, v'kol HaMalachim Ba'al Chadinim. Hamizartem ba'osa b'gevuros, and all the Bali Yadinim that also hold on to those gevuros, kulhu mizbasman, all of them become sweetened. Kulim mizbasmim ayedech abeliyas reich v'ashan arkabanas dachoitim Zair Anpin, into the nose of Zair Anpin. Okay, let's see where we're at now. So he says, v'kama gevuroch mis'achten gachada. V'kama gevuros mis'achten yachad b'choitim Zair Anpin. So now you have all these gevuros come together and concentrated in this nose. Because from this nose, maskil his pashas achamesh gevuros, this is where the 5 gevuros come from. He says it begins to spread from there. V'sham niskasvod yachad kol achamesh gevuros be'ez hazarazim l'shorsham. Now, I made a line under this in my notes because I didn't really understand the idea here. He says, V'sham miskapsos yachad, no problem, they all come together there. And then he says, Chachamesh gevuros, the 5 gevuros, okay, what? Be'ez chazarasim l'shorsham, at the time that they go back to their root. I'm not sure that I know what that idea is. I would say offhand that the gevuros are going from the bottom to the top in some way, but I don't get it, the rest of it. The chsiv, okay, let's go on. Kamosha Kosov, he's a Yamala Gevuras Hashem, who could say over what the Gevuras Hashem are, Pirush, Mi Yochel L'Saper as Gevuras Hashem, who could talk about it. Ki Rabim Heim Mibli Yecholas Lebenosa, because the amount of Gevuros that contained in Yud Kei Vav Kei are too great, which he's talking about the nose here, are so great that you can't count them. Ki Chamesh Gevuros Cholchos is Pashas Ben Achaitim, so they go out from the nose. And they become multiplied until they can't be counted. Yashmiya called to Hilasa, Yashmiya Loshan Asifa V'Kibbutz. So he says Yashmiya, he says call to Hilasa, that hear all of its prayers. Yashmiya Loshan Asifa V'Kibbutz, get together. And what does it mean? The Pirushu Hama'azeh B'Makabetz Kala Gevura. So he who gathers together all of these gevuras, which now he says the nose, another word for the nose, is tehillah. Now it seems to me that we might see a little bit later, I'm not sure that it refers to malchus, but here he says, so the gathering of them is called a prayer. And maybe that means the gathering maybe means going from the bottom to the top. I really don't understand what he was saying there. Was he saying that the gevuros are all, as they're moving upwards, because he said they're going back to their shorish, which is in the nose. So maybe that's what he meant. So I'm just speculating. V'hine kol ribuy gevuros, so all this multiplication of gevuros, ha'elosh shorsha b'chayte, which comes out of the nose, mizbatzven the mintakim ha'yidech ha'paliyas reach l'koach, because, excuse me, the reich, the fragrance that comes from that ashram. This is a tremendous barbecue over here. Of hakarbala the chaytim Zair Anpin kamosha arm that comes up into the nose is Zair Anpin, as we had been explaining. Masha Marnon, so what we said like this, Sha'ashan ha'odach min the karbanos, so the ashan that comes from the karbanos, as ashan ha'yotzach min the chaytim Zair Anpin, and it goes where? And by karbanos mibasmim, excuse me, they sweeten up, or they bring a different fragrance. So he wants to say, it seems to me that I'm playing with this idea that he wants to say that the fragrance of anger is different from the fragrance And when it's really angry, it has some kind of an odor to it, or in some way. I don't know if to call I don't know a good word yet. So he said, Zair Anpin, episode Hagavuros, another coming out, call Zechab who rock mitzad neked v'yemini, that's only coming from the side of the right, shall chotim Zair Anpin. Now, what did he say? So we have something sweetened. V'hai chutma ki zeh ha-chotim shel Zair Anpin, yesh bo shnei nekavim, it has two nostrils. Shehe bebechinas yamin is small. So therefore, v'lechein, mechad nukva nafik isha da'achlo kol shar ishin. So which is the neck of a small, Yotze Eish Chazaka comes out a tremendously powerful fire. He says the Shar Eishas that is more powerful and overcomes all the rest of the fires. Merov Tokfo because it's so powerful. So it's a powerful din, and it's more din. This is fire, not just smoke. Kihu is small. That's the concept of the left. Mechad nukva tenona. So one nostril has smoke. A menekev echad shuhu nekev yamini yoshin, which is not the same as fire. V'hai ishtakach be'isha usnandach the madbacha. The be'isha, I think it says with the hirik. So he said midbcha v'zechav v'eish v'heina ashan nishkantim. So that we said this fire and this smoke nishkantim, they're quiet down. They've been talking. When them talking and sweetened up by Yidech Eish of Arshan and Mizbeach, they can be sweetened. That is, that one with the smoke can be sweetened from the fire of the Mizbeach. Ki smoke of the Beach, ki Eish Yotzech of Menekev is smolly. Mizbasim be'eish ala Mizbeach is sweetened. He's talking about that left nostril then. Is sweetened as a result of the smoke comes from the Mizbeach. Arshan the Yotzech Menekev Yemini. Mizbasim be'arshan ma'oilech b'nekabana. So he says, what's the difference here? I sort of missed this. Let me see. He says, let's go back to the word key. He says the word key. Eisha yotze benekeva smoli left. Mizbasim be'eish al mizbeach. So excuse me. That's the dividing. It's the fire. The fire on the mizbeach actually sweetens the left nostril. For ha'ashan the yod then the smoke. Menekev come ha'yeminich mizbasim be'ashem ha'olach b'benekabarnas sweetens the smoke. Ki Arshan nimtak ba'arshan, because you have Arshan sweetened with Arshan, va'esh nimtak ba'esh kamohu. So they can only be mollified through their like. Ve'izgalia v'atika kadisha v'bizgalacha aras chaytim shel atika kadisha. Now there comes a revelation of the nose of atika kadisha, shuhu Erich Anpin, which is Erich Anpin. V'ishtakach kola. And then what happens is that everything quiets down. When talk, everything comes sweetened up a little bit. All of those is there on the nose. Zair Anpin. They give yachadim kol balachadinim, not only the nose itself, but also the agents of the nose, which are the balachadin and the malachim and echazim sham, which are holding on to that place. The Itmar, so this is a pasuk over here, and he said, now here we come back to the word tehillah, which he said previously. I forgot that it refers to Zair Anpin, I thought. Erich Anpin, Omer the Zair Anpin, he says it's Zair Anpin, tehilasi. He says, Hatahala, or Hadahila, so my glory or my praise, my greatness, who Bisha Echtam Lach is a time when my nose comes over to you, Koloma Bisha Amshech Lacha Orez Chotmi. That means that I will extend down to you the lights that are coming from my nose. Kedei Lahamtek as a Gevurah Shebechot Amacho. So in order to be able to sweeten up those gevuros. So he's telling us here that the nose of Zair Anpin is always ready for punishment. So the only way it could be sweetened, and we've seen this so many times, is through Erich Anpin, which he said yesterday is a big secret, is that the letter Aleph, which you see in so many different places, which is actually Gematria 26 often, is actually represents Erich Anpin. So Chutama de Atika Kadisha, let's go to that nose. A Chosem Shel Atika Kadisha, Shul Erich Anpin. Arich, very long. Hu Arach V'Gadol, big. And then it spreads. He said, so therefore, mispashit bo ha'ashon, so therefore the smoke goes there. So he says, mashit bo ha'ashon, okay. Ve'eda yotza the chut, but it doesn't go out. Yesh bechotim makom sheyuchal ha'ashon lehispashit lehishoyer sham. Now he said, wait a minute. He says there is smoke there, but it doesn't come out of the nose of Erich Anpin. V'ikre Erich Anpin, so the real root of that's not Ikre. V'ikre Erich Anpin. Erich Anpin is called V'lechein Nikre Erich Anpin. He says B'shem Erich Apayim. That's when he's called long-nosed. That's the concept of patience. He says B'chadashem Shem Erich Apo, because he holds back or he extends his patience for his anger. Ki ein charon af yotzim b'sham, because from that nose no charon af comes out. Elam is pashtim ba'af and the sharim sham, so that they go into the nose and they stay there. V'haychu tom zair anpin who caught it. So you see, there's just excuse me that there's a little contradiction there. We're constantly saying that we talk about the eyes or the forehead of Erich Anpin, that they're all kulo white. There's no anger there. Here we're seeing that in the nose there is, but it doesn't come out. There's no place for the ashan, the smoke, to come out. When the smoke starts to come out of the nose of Erich Anpin, so maybe I got wrong and we're over here on Zair Anpin, I'm sorry. The smoke comes out quick, fast. Because the nose is not long like the nose of Erich Anpin. He wants to say the nose of Erich Anpin is so big that the smoke really can't find a way to get out. I guess it gets diluted there. But over here, it's not like that. It doesn't have the ability to hold back the smoke. And as a result of that, the din takes place. That's how the din comes out. For the smoke that comes out of the nose is Zair Anpin. Shehi bechinas dinim, just true straight dinim, v'shoyel. L'man ma'akev l'hai. So who could hold this back? Me ma'akev is a yitzias ha'ashrim b'chotim Zair Anpin. What could be done in order to keep that from coming out? Because there's no doubt about what it's going to do. Sha'ari b'badai yesh mi she'akev is yitzias ha'ashrim. But there is an element that can change this. She'im ein mishi akvu, because if you don't have anyone, if there's no ability to be able to hold it back, the world can't stand. Once again, he has to use this phrase. He has to use the phrase Tika Kadisha, then he has to say that it's Erich Anpin. So there has to be a reason why he said it. We saw in the tib that he said it refers really to Zachar Benuk of Atik. Well, that's the whole Mahalach difference. He says Kadisha Shuhu Erich Anpin, Hu Hama'akev as Yitzias Ash, and that's what holds biz back Mechotim Zair Anpin. Ki Chotim Erich Anpin, Meir Lechotim Zair Anpin, that it shines into the nose of Zair Anpin. So then it lengthens. You see the similar concept to the beard that we see in other places. As it's shining on it, it causes the nose to get longer, just like the nose of Erich Anpin. But Nimsa Memelus comes out like this. Shehina Ashan Yotza Minachaitim, so it winds up the same thing. It holds back the Chotim. Elam is Pasha Venesha Babakoma, but rather it spreads, it only stays in its place, Kamo Bachotim Erich Anpin, and he says this is like the nose of Erich Anpin. Now, built into this is a bunch of different kinds of potential steers that you could look at it in a different way. And the whole thing is really has been stated in the Idra Rabbah. He said, well, we talked about Erich Anpin, we talked about his beard over there, his aro chavria. So now they all became aroused, and they went over, I guess, to this Svarim, and they started looking and trying to get into this Sod. So now he goes over here in a different direction. He said, the Sifra de Rabbi Nuna Saba, which we love, Rabbi Nuna Saba, of the Sifra Shah Rabbi Nuna Saba. Okim honey trait lukve ha'ame the pirush ha'inyan. Excuse me. Ha'inyan elach shnei in the coven, the two nostrils of the chotem is Zair Anpin. Shadol Kamosh Amarno, not like we said in the Mala. Shemeneka the smola yotze Asia beneka b'yamine yotze ashon, so that you have a split in the two nostrils, and one side is smoke, one side is fire. Ela pirusham, but the actual way he wants to say it is a mechad denona v'isha. The shemenekev echad shuhu hanekev smoli. So now let's look at that left nostril again. Yotze ashon v'esh comes out smoke and fire. Of shehem dinim megavuros, as we know. But then the other one, instead you have sweetness and pleasantness come out of that, which is the two different sides. It would be the right arm and the das, which is split on the right side. I put it like that. The Izbe Yemina small, it has a right and left quality. Zair Anpin Koluhu. Small, it has a right and a left to it. Let's not forget that. He said, that's another thing. The right line is always chesed. So therefore also that right nostril. So you're going to have chesed come out of that right side. Rav Hamnuna Saba may be rayas of the Pesuka, so he has Pesukim that bring up proofs to this thought. In the Pesukim. And it's written like this, because in his nose is written like this. So that's a Pirusha. What is Reich Lo Kalvono? So it really means it's sent to him like Chalvona, which always means whiteness, which is chesed. So let's say B'Pirusha should be Gevuras HaChodim Shalo Shehei B'Bechinas Reach, which is the concept of Reach, which is a scent. Heim Domas Kalvonim, they're similar to the Kalvona. What's Lavonim? Is Lashon Lavon. Because they're sweetened and they're whitened. And we see as a result of this, because something really good comes out of the right nostril, not like it was said, the Zohar said previously. Of Nukva Kasiv, and so in regards to the below Ode, even when you're talking about the female side of Zair Anpin, who is called the Nukva of Zair Anpin, so he says apech, that's the word. So the reich that's coming out of that nose, who reich tov reich atapuchim, it's a beautiful smell, like the smell of apples. So why we say this about the nukva? Ma im benukva. Shehi bebechinas dinim yosim Zair Anpin, which she has a lot more dinim pooled into her than Zair Anpin. Kosav sheyesh lo reich tov. They say about her that she has a good smell, so a good fragrance. Kol shechein beg, also certainly him. Kol shechein b'Zair Anpin shu yoser rachmim sheyesh lo reich tov, that he's more rachmim, he's going to certainly have a reich tov. U'mekan raya the shbeneka v'yemini shechachotim Zair Anpin. So here we see that on the right nostril of Zair Anpin, nimshach nachas ruach tov, yes, something really nice comes out of that. Rebbe Shimon then comes and says v'shabaka ama. I like this. V'yafa ama Rabbi Nuna Saba, because of that bechina of which he is talking. Well, let's go on, and we're moving over to where we're going to get to the ears. What the pasuk says. Let me 1 second here. V'yarech Hashem as reich nekoach, that Hashem smells this reich nekoach. V'yesh l'shuchol lama ama milas nekoach b'shtei osios ches. So why you write it like that? So he said, why does it have two cheses? Shehi gefeles lashon. So you're making emphasizing in v'chad tshuva the davar. So this is key. Hanichoach betray sitre. It really refers to two different sides. What does that mean? He said, Milas anikoach mor al nachas kefula b'shnei tzedadim. This is really a double portion of nachas. Comes from two different sides. Sheyesh the Zair Anpin, that Zair Anpin has two different sides. Hey mitzad tachton shebetachas Zair Anpin. So there, that is the lower side, which is underneath Zair Anpin. Hey mitzad elyon sheba'al Zair Anpin. I'm not sure what he means by this. Chad naicha. Ki nachas ha'achas sheyesh Zair Anpin, because one of the nachas, the comforts, I guess, that we say that Zair Anpin has, he is gal yachatika kadisha steamed to call steaming. Because in Zair Anpin, because if we say that the aleph, again, is a 26, so you could take the aleph and make it into 26, and that's manifest in Zair Anpin as Yud Kei Vav Kei. Shenizgal Chatika Kadisha Shuhu Erich Anpin. Shuhu Sasam Yosef B'Kalastumim, okay? V'hu Meir B'Chodim Zair Anpin, and is shining into the nose of Zair Anpin. The high hu naicho this bas the kula. So this is the sweetening that comes and sweetens up everything. So if you could get Erich Anpin to look at the nose of Zair Anpin and you feel in your avodah, you're really doing something. But the other one, so this other comfort, now let's get these words right. He says again, the second type of nachas is a sweetness, habal, which comes and then goes up melamata from the bottom. And it comes from where? So one of them comes, he wants to say, comes from the top going downwards. The other one, he says, is coming from the mizbeach, is going up. Ki al yada miskashrim called the golomel zer bezer melamal the lamala, because this reach the koch from the mizbeach has the ability to be able to sweeten up everything up above, tie them all together. V'chagavuros olos, and this is the, I underline this also. So this is v'chagavuros olos. The gavuros go up. The v'nim takos b'chaytim Zair Anpin, and they become sweetened in that nose of Zair Anpin. And I guess I did that because we have here this, I mentioned before, we had this concept of going back to the root, and I didn't understand what he meant, and so here I see something going backwards. So he said, Erich Anpin, Zair Anpin. So first you have the movement from the bottom to the top, and as a result of that, it brings down this nachas ruach over to the nose of Zair Anpin. He said, begin to ihu mitrin citrin. So since it's coming from two directions, so since you have it coming from up above and down below, that is from Erich Anpin and also from the Mizbeach, Erich Anpin's Shemal Zair Anpin, coming from Zair Anpin, who is Panimi to Zair Anpin, Zair Anpin that are underneath, that are Chitzoni to Zair Anpin. Ksiv Nichoach, there's the reason why you have this double ches. The Chain Kosav Lashon Nikoach, B'shtei Osios Ches, Lahoros al Shnei Mini Nachos Elu, in order to show us of these two different kinds of comfortings that you get out of this. V'kuldu b'Zair Anpin Itmar, and it's all talking about Zair Anpin. So you have a couple of different ideas here. You had Rav Amnuna Saba, who came in and he really changed the equation from fire and smoke to fire and smoke and also nachas. So all of this sweetening we're talking about is happening about Zair Anpin. Erich Anpin, because even the sweetness that comes from Erich Anpin, he litzorach dini Zair Anpin, is for the purpose of sweetening Zair Anpin up. He's Erich Anpin atma, but Erich Anpin himself, he doesn't need the hamtaka. He who kula rachamim, because once again he is completely rachamim. Okay, that's the shir today. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful Shabbos.